Hey guys, it's me Chris. Welcome to my channel where we're looking at international level Taekwondo and we break down not just technique, but strategies and tactics that they use as well so you can use them in your own game. This week we're breaking down in Kyu-Don and the 5 things he does really well for a strong defensive game. If you want it in under 90 seconds, here it is. Number 1 is that sure shot offense.
Shook that one off, stock steady. Good back leg.
Kyu-Don's classic turn, it's rewarded him so much in the...
2, good hand coverage.
And after that frenetic pace, the heavyweight's just slowing it down, little twisting kick.
They hurt exponentially, and not only that, they're dangerous for athletes.
Yep. And that will be reviewed.
Yeah, if I'm Korea, he's tried that back leg a couple of times. Trying for that eagle, as we've called it, looking for the turn.
3, the strong cancels.
Of course, it's like rock.
Seems like both these men are taking no prisoners today.
Crouching down, using those shoulder movements to try and bemuse and confuse. Good cover from the Korean.
4, the expert rings management.
It's always that. There's got to be 1 or 2 punches to wake up the judges, and now we're ready for it. Firing right back at you. It's why he's so deadly.
Good back leg turn and kick, front leg response from Mardani. Again avoided by Kyu-Don.
And number 5 is the head bob.
Although this could go to goal. Can he make it to yet another Olympic Games?
Good pressure by the Korean. I like that. Not letting Iran just bear down on him.
All right, and for those of you who want to look at the more in-depth analysis of him against Mardani Iran, I have that right now. All right, guys, so normally I have myself in the screen right here, but due to making it a little bit easier for me to edit videos, I've taken myself out. So let me know if you guys like this format or not as much, but we're gonna be breaking this down. So for those of you guys who don't know or are a little bit newer, Iran here, usually very good with the front leg. Has both back leg to the body and the out and crescent kick. Also, given that they're heavyweights, it's assumed that they both have punches. In Kyu-Don here, really good with his hands. For covering, he has a good punch, decent front leg, decent cancel, and he's notorious for the spin kick near the end that he can throw almost whatever and land. And he throws that at really awkward times, and he's able to put himself ahead that way. So let's get into it. Good, so there's that cancel. What I want you guys to notice, take away from Kyu-Don's cancel here, I may go into this one more time, is on his cancel, his base leg here, very planted and forward. It's not planted in place, because if it's planted directly in place, someone hits it a little bit, he's gonna be falling over to the side. It's slanted forward, foot pivoted backwards, so it's like a giant wedge, and it's hard to push this backwards. That's one thing. The second thing, his leg is nice and tucked underneath to make sure that if there is a follow-up to the body, it's kind of hard to do. If this top leg wants to follow up somewhere down here, hard to do because you have to try and practice kicking now over this giant obstacle. That's the second thing. And the third thing is he's leaning back very far, keeping his head very safe. Some people cancel. If you're going to cancel offensively, I would suggest leaning your weight forward to get your foot out of the way. But for in Kyu-Don, for this defensive cancel, head leaning back. So for a good cancel, have this wedge going, foot reversed, back foot leaning forward. Have this nice and high, so it's hard for people to kick over. The arm is a good plus, and then make sure your head is leaned back for a strong defensive cancel. Now, if your base foot isn't very strong, this is going to help you very much. They're just going to run you over. So it's important that you develop strong legs as well. Boom. This is a little bit more of a poke, I want to say, here. And the reason he has to do that is because in one of his earlier fights, he did get gum-jonged a lot. In one of his older Grand Prix, he got gum-jonged and he got warned a lot because he didn't engage. So I think that's why he pokes a little bit more offense now. And secondly, I think it's important for him to be going forward because you can't just stand back and let Iran dictate the fight. Even though Kyu-Don's whole game is based off his defense and being strong defensively, it's not very practical to let someone just keep kicking at you with no threat of offense. You want to keep them on their toes the whole time. He has a punch, not bad. So it's one of the sure shot offense timing reset thing I want to go into. Even though Iran blocks it with his front leg. Well, the reason this works is because the reason he goes on offense here is because the last couple exchanges, Iran here has been pressing offense. Kyu-Don's either been in place or moving back a little bit. I think he's only going forward for about 1 or 2 seconds. So Iran here very comfortable in pushing the pace of the match. And especially in this instance where they walk a little bit, and usually what happens is right here, both players will take a deep breath and then bounce for 1 or 2 seconds and then start going again to catch the breath. In Kyu-Don, because he has the defensive game, he has to take advantage of opportunities where he knows the opponent won't go backwards. So on the reset here is when he chooses to go. Iran caught unexpectedly and kind of lives for a shin block. But very effective. You can almost feel when both players are about to get settled. I'll rewind it just a hair. Both players about to get settled, and then Kyu-Don goes for the offense, trying to catch Iran unexpectedly here. Right there, and then goes. Now it's unfortunate that, you know, there's a leg check. Good. Also, if you guys haven't heard before, Stephen Lambden is on the speaker as one of the announcers. He has very good in-depth analysis as well. If you want to go through, watch this fight, listen to Stephen Lambden's commentary. Also very good ideas there. Nice. So same thing. This is kind of the timing reset, like sure shot offense thing I was talking about. Both players here about to get settled. And boom. Right when he feels like we're about to reset, in Kyu-Don goes for the offense. In that case, for the punch. Notice here on the edge, I want you guys to notice this on this little engagement. In Kyu-Don knows he's on the edge here, and during this whole evasion, he rotates all the way around back in. He doesn't try and stand here and hold his ground and try and force himself forward, which is important, especially if you have a defensive game. So in order to be counted out here, you need your foot needs to be out of the edge here on the border. In Kyu-Don, very cognizant of where he is in the ring, circles all the way around back into the middle. Small note here, I'm not sure, I want you guys to be able to see this. Kyu-Don's head is positioned forward. It looks like he's going to be going something offensively. But on the last two, and because of that, it looks like Iran kicks almost to just barely behind, but nothing too deep. And it's because In Kyu-Don is positioned, has his head positioning forward. He's not defensively, he's not thinking defense and leaning his head back here or on the midline. He positions his head forward to give the impression that he may blitz like before, like for the offensive reset on the kick or the offensive reset on the punch. He uses something as small as his head positioning here to motion and look like he's going to be on offense. What that does is it allows people to kick short and easier for him to defend going backwards. Good fake. So even in this situation, his head is still positioned forward. Even though he may not be thinking offense, his head in general is always positioned forward. His shoulder is positioned leaning forward. Everything about the stance shows that he could blitz in for that punch. He could blitz in for that front leg at any moment, and he uses that as to his advantage to save off his opponent a little bit, to rest if he wants to, and to set up the defense. So there's that cancel again here. Good. Really good cancel. Foot positioned back. This one he's leaning back a little bit. I think going for a straighter leg, higher lift, but head positioned back out of the way too. Let's trying to set up that back kick. Nice punch. So there's that leaning back cancel where his legs positioned forward still. He's trying to. This one doesn't really count as a cancel. He's trying to get his foot back in. But in general, his head's positioned back. This arm anyways in front of the Hogu. And able to deflect all of Iran's offense. So looking at this fight, what is what would be the possible adjustments for second round going into third round? Or, I mean, first round going to second round. If I were Korea, I would say you need to blitz a little bit more often. That's where the points came from. And that's where you're catching him off guard. Even if it turns into a shin block, that's still a +1 for you. And if you're Iran here, Mardani, I mean, unfortunately, because of the way he's playing the game, you kind of have to poke a little bit more, trying to get through. Expect he's going to defend the first 1 or 2 shots, and then try and set up your third, fourth shot at a different area. So you got to be changing targets a lot on your opponent. Try and keep their arms guessing. Nice. Kind of exactly what I said. Sweet. I want you guys to watch this really quick. This goes into this other point of maintaining the ring, or knowing where he's in the ring. Here, full retreat this way, cognizant of the edge of the ring. And when he jumps back inside the ring still. He doesn't jump back too far. He's cognizant to not go out of the ring at all. There's all of his weight right here is leaning forward, all of his body weight. He knows he can't go back. And if he stands here straight up, Mardani is just going to push him out. He jumps backwards. He jumps back with this foot positioned like a wedge, body weight going forward. Catches his stance second time. Goes after him with a double. And, ooh, there's that spin kick. Very, very close. Nice punch. There's that reset blitz I was talking about. After a big exchange like this, especially one that went back and forth almost over the whole ring, you'd expect most of the times that this player 1, player 2 are going to take 1 or 2 seconds to try and catch their breath a little bit and then re-engage. That's not the case. And Kyu-Don knows that part of the tactics he can afford now because of his strong defensive game and trying and egging this person continuously forward into an offense because Kyu-Don's defense is so good. The luxury that affords him is the ability to blitz on the reset at whim. And so here, after a long exchange like that, usually players take 1 or 2 seconds. As soon as his feet get settled in the new position, instead of taking 1 or 2 seconds to try and re-engage, try and bob the head back and forth a little bit, or anything like that, he opts for the punch. Boom. Big exchange. Cognizant of the ring. Back in. Tries for that back kick, which affords him 4 points. On the reset. Boom. Notice too here, Kyu-Don here gives head fakes, head motions, and fakes, like as if he's moving forward. As if at any time he can blitz toward Iran. When in fact, he's actually just sitting on, trying to evade and catch his breath. Nice punch. Notice as he's coming up to the punch, he kind of rocks back and forth too. He rocks his body weight back and forth. It's a little bit so if he's leaning back, I feel like if he's leaning back and Iran kicks at him, he's leaning back enough for this cancel. And when he steps forward, it sets him up for stuff like the punch. There's a head movement I was talking about. This kick underneath here works really well because most of the time when Mardani's about to cut him, most of the time when Mardani cuts at him, Kyu-Don cancels or just blocks the kick. It's very rare that he counters kick for kick. And in this one, he conditioned Mardani enough to where he feels like it's safe. If he cuts, he's expecting the cancel, but instead shoots underneath. There's that cancel too. No response here. No No score for the headshot here, but it works because Kyu-Don has never thrown this technique yet in the match. This is something that's they don't expect. Usually it's kick, 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 and then block, 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 and then try and follow up with a back leg or something, try and get around his arms. But Kyu-Don hasn't thrown this front leg to the face the whole match. And so even though it doesn't score, it's still effective. It still tags Iran here. Iran there, good job getting around the arm. Score is 0-0 for both of them. Punch, maybe? Or back leg? Not anymore, maybe cancel. So this small, it seems insignificant, but against higher players here, this small head movement forward costs you almost no energy, like 0 energy, but is enough usually, especially because Kyu-Don plays off this blitz a lot, enough to make Iran here tense and expect the movement forward. And it puts him on edge and shifts his mindset into defense. He does that a couple little times. Now he's leaning backwards. Iran feels like he might cancel. And then right after this, he shifts back to forward again. And as you can see, Iran here is getting a little bit tense. His feet a little bit tense there. And that's what I'm talking about, the head movement. Just basic stuff like where you're positioning your head in the fight and where you're juking. Enough to make your opponent kind of second guess where they're about to attack you. Notice that movement was in, then out, then in. And so now Mardani has to guess, is he actually going in or is he actually going out? In this instance, Mardani kicks short just in case. Just in case Kyu-Don did decide to move in, but alas, fake move. Kyu-Don on the out. And that is the icing on the cake right there. So the reason this kick connects here is because usually in this exchange, Mardani number 1 is only looking for the back kick. Kyu-Don hasn't thrown a hook kick this whole game or turning along this whole game. Only looking for the back kick. Secondly, after he pushes him back a little bit, pushes him back, it was unfortunate that he punched, but all Kyu-Don's looking for his back kick really is anything with this shoulder turn here. And usually for a back kick, to hit a back kick or a hook kick here, all you're looking for is this shoulder, this back shoulder to move. As soon as that thing blitzes, that usually is a telegraph for the back leg kick coming up. In this case, this is Mardani's punch coming out. Either one, with a shoulder turn, the body's going to be more square. As you can see right here, it's like completely facing Kyu-Don. It's going to be more square. He's completely facing Kyu-Don. And so either way, whether this leg is up, whether it's just a punch, this leg can get around easier without evasion. And that's pretty much the icing on the cake there. Unfortunate turn of events that he got kicked on the way out. I didn't think it was intentional. So now what we know is Mardani has to push. He's down by quite a bit. In Kyu-Don, we're going to watch how his defensive game kind of saves him here and how he sets up another hook kick. Notice on this cancels, these last two cancels here. Cancels strong underneath, and then on the reset, he doesn't land right back down. He cancels strong underneath, but notice his base foot, when he lands, he doesn't land this foot down in range of Mardani. He lands this base foot here. This foot comes down. This foot moves back a little bit to kind of reset the distance a little bit so he's further away. That makes, instead of him standing right in Mardani's range, it forces the almost a mini distance, forces him to reset over distance a little bit. Also still very cognizant. Watch, Kyu-Don's very aware of where the ring is, like more than I think I've ever been. And even here in the back part, watch his feet. Steps, instead of going backwards, Mardani's gonna try and come in. Steps to the side, like flutters his feet to the side to give himself more space to maneuver. Good, and he's able to get the rotation on Mardani. Now all the work Mardani just did to try and push him forward, to take the risk, to push him backwards into the corner, completely undone, starting on even ground now. Now Kyu-Don has all the room behind him again to start this defensive game all over again. That's where the expert ring management is coming into his favor. Let's try. Every time he's at the edge, You can see in Kyu-Don, circle back to the middle every time. Nice punch. Another kind of blitz reset. Also, it's not really Mardani's. It's not. I mean, he showed this front leg once, but this whole time, Kyu-Don's kind of been sitting on the defense, kind of passive. So that coming out offensively deep like that is very, very unexpected. Nice punch again. Another good cancel back there right into the hook kick. And that's pretty much it. Hey guys, so that's the end of the video, and thank you for watching. Pretty much all wrapped up. In Kyu-Don, the game revolves around his defense. I mean, he initially starts it off by moving his head in and out and getting you to kind of guess if he's whether or not he's going to close in on you, close the distance, or back out. Once you get past that part, he has excellent hand coverage over his body and his head, as you saw in the match. He also has amazing cancels, which negate your kick as well. So not only do you have to contend with where is he going to be, you also have to contend with trying to get around his arms and his leg cancel. Another way to deal with that is kind of to like strong cut or try and force him out. And even then, even like when he's on the edge, he's really good ring management to get himself back to center. So you have to expend all that energy over again just to try and get a point. And as you're wrapped up in trying to get this offense, because it's very rarely like he comes out offense, and especially multiple kicks, usually it's just poking and prodding to get at you. After you spend all that energy and your mind is really taxed and trying to get, how do I get this guy? How do I get him off his game? How do I get him to score a point, or like messes up his arms a little bit so I can score a point underneath? He shoots that one shot to your face. He comes in with that punch on the off timing. He shoots that back leg, or if you fall up too much, he's looking just for that left leg kick follow up so he can spin and try and hit you in the face or put that back kick in. But that's going to be it today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, or share this if you got any value, and I'll see you guys next week.